Hey guys, my name is Marshall McGee, and this video will be a look at the sound effects in the game Pokemon Go, and how I think they could be improved. I'll be going pretty in-depth with some explanation during these parts, so if you'd rather just see the final product, click the annotation at the top or skip to the last couple minutes of the video. Looking at the game in its current state, none of the sounds really reflect the experience that I want to have playing this game. My main goal with the redesign is to give the player a more satisfying experience hunting for Pokemon, and at the same time trigger the nostalgia and familiarity that people already have with the series. This means keeping it simple with some of these sounds. There's no need to redesign iconic sounds like capturing a Pokemon or the lo-fi cries. Those sounds are already perfect, so what we do want to redesign are things like evolution, the menu interface, and powering up. It occurred to me that this app uses a lot of sonar imagery, from the circles radiating from the player's feet to the white lines around the nearby meter when a Pokemon is close. The sounds should reflect those animation choices and make the player feel like they're using a cool, futuristic tracking device when they're walking down the street. The last major thing that I kept in mind in this project was to bring clarity to the new sounds. What I mean by that is when we power up a fire type, we should hear crackling and fire, not just a simple generic whoosh sound effect. And when we spin a Pokeball for a curveball, we should hear it spinning and whirring around. I think those little details can go a long way in making the player feel like they're involved and like they have a serious impact on the game environment. Now let's dive into the creation of these new sound effects. Let's start with the menu sounds. The menu can set the tone for the whole game, and as I mentioned before, I think menu sounds should reflect the animation choices. So my approach here was to layer a simple beep with a more textural Foley recording, and then apply reverb and echo to give it that sonar quality that the animations have. The rest of the menu sounds are slight variations on this same concept. It was important to me that the power-up sound be type-specific, so in the case of Flareon, I've layered some torch sounds as well as wind to make it feel like roaring fire. There's also a bubbly 8-bit riser in the background to reinforce that the player is doing something positive. I did a total overhaul of this Pokeball opening sound effect. The main transient of this sound is a combination of two snare drums that I've made over the years for music. These give it a powerful, punchy, distinct opening. And then the body of the sound is just multiple layers of whooshes and suction that give it a good stereo image and a satisfying tail. Next, I've decided to add a sound for the curveball animation. This sound is two layers, a recording of a rope being spun overhead, and a synth tone which is pitch mapped to a low-resolution LFO to give it a more retro feel. The synth is pitched up and down depending on if the player is charging up or slowing down the throw. The next sound was a fun deconstruction of the original Pokeball struggle sound effect. If you take a look at the original waveform, it's a simple square wave with a pitch change, and then it repeats itself shortly after at a lower volume. I recreated this effect by using the square wave oscillator in Massive, as well as some simple delay. It came out pretty close to the original. Last but not least, we have Pokemon Evolution. Currently there isn't an evolution sound in the game, which is quite unfortunate, but it's all the more reason just to make it as punchy and powerful as possible. The sound has a ton of layers that I won't go crazy into detail on, but my approach was to just pile on sounds like magical chimes, explosions, reversed explosions, and wind to build tension in the low end, and then the same full spectrum explosion at the end when your new Pokemon is revealed. Here's how it sounds. Thanks so much for watching, guys. The rest of this video is just going to be my full redesign from start to finish with no commentary, all the sound effects you've just heard, and a lot more that you haven't heard yet, so enjoy.